Hey everyone, Crow back again, and I've been wanting to do a video on this game for quite a while. This is the Spectre Files Deathstalker. This is on Steam, and Steam is the only place you could play this other than Galloping Ghost Arcade. See, this is a lost arcade game that Galloping Ghost had restored. In fact, this is the only game on Steam published by Galloping Ghost Productions. I knew about this game. I don't have any footage of it myself in the arcade, but I did grab a picture off of Galloping Ghost website. I'll put it up here. And this is a picture of the machine with Doc Mack on the right and Brian Colin on the left. And Brian Colin is the individual who, I guess, spearheaded this game, created the game, if you will. And Brian Colin will show up at pretty much almost any convention or anything I show up to anywhere remotely near the Chicago area. So when I was at the Video Game Summit back in July, I was talking to him for a while, and I bought a Rampage poster, had him sign it, and then I noticed he had a poster for Deathstalker in the background. I said, oh man, Deathstalker, I love playing that game at Galloping Ghost. And, you know, we were talking, and he was talking about how the game was supposed to come out, but instead of release, it's an FMV game, but instead of releasing it on Laserdisc, Bally, who was going to publish the game, decided to cheap out, and they decided to put it on video disc instead. Video disc is pretty much like, if you would think about it like a vinyl record, but for video. It has like a needle that goes along the thing. So the very first time they moved the machine, the needle scratched the disc all up and ruined the game. And then Galloping Ghost, 20 years, 30 years down later, restored the game. I said, you know what? I kind of wish this was available to play at home, like on Steam or something. And Brian Colin, isn't it on Steam? I go, what? He's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's on Steam. And I pulled out my phone right there, pulled up Steam. Sure enough, this has been on Steam since October 27th, 2020, and I had no idea. It is $9.99. I don't think it's worth it to wait for a sale. I don't think this is the kind of game that goes on sale, because I actually bought it during the Steam summer sale and there was no discount on it whatsoever. I was more than happy to pay the $10 just to be able to play this game at home and be able to hear it, because when I played it at Galloping Ghost, I couldn't hear what was going on. If you wanted to hear what was going on, you would have to bring your own headphones and plug it into the machine. Now, as I said, I've been wanting to do a video on this game for quite a while, but I really wasn't sure how to go about doing it. So I just decided, you know what, I'll do what I used to do, just make a video where I play the game. I think you'll find it's very interesting, especially if you're into the cheesy B-movie horror genre, because it's a very cheesy game. It's very tongue-in-cheek. It's very off the wall. It does have one feature, though, that you can't do in the arcade, and that's if you press the space bar, you can skip the footage you're watching and just skip right to the multiple choices. And that's handy if you're playing the game multiple times in a row and you just don't want to watch the same scene over and over and over again. One of the common complaints is you can't pause the game, but I don't really think that's an issue. I'll get to that. I'll get to why that I think that's the case. So let's get this game booted up. All right. It's booted. Okay. Now, again, very bare bones. I kind of wish you could use the keyboard or even a controller, because that way it would make it easier to choose your multiple choices, either A, B, or C, and it would be helpful if you could just choose a button, A, B, or C, or to do that. But no, you have to use the mouse. You have to click on your choices. So, interactive adventure. We're just kind of looking at the intro here. Play. So here's the main menu. You got play. There's a music video. I'm not going to play that here, even though it's funny. If you want to see the music video, buy the game. Oh, if we click on About, here we go. Deathstalker, the Spectre Files. Now, I'm not sure if the game is Deathstalker first or the Spectre Files first. The way it shows up on Steam is the Spectre Files. But you are looking at the restoration of a 16mm film adaptation of an original interactive text adventure designed as an arcade laserdisc game produced in the mid-1980s for a major Chicago-based arcade game manufacturer. And I'm telling you, it's Bally. It was never released, and I told you why. When the laser game craze hit the coin up market. I jumped at the chance to create a feature-length interactive film, working with coworkers, amateurs, and film students in an unheated, abandoned mental institution on a shoestring budget. We finished the film just after the manufacturer unsuccessfully attempted to use the video disc technology instead of the laser disc technology in an interactive arcade video disc system, an interactive arcade disc game, and all future disc projects were scratched. So that is Brian Colan. That's his quote from me. It's basically what he told me. So yeah, let's play the game. So as you can see here, we have 2 hearts and we have a score. So this is score based. And again, if I wanted to skip, I could just hit the space bar now, but I'm not going to skip anything here. We'll play through this once. I've never finished a game. I think the way you can beat the game changes
in detective school. First,
it changes based on what happens, I guess, in the game.
Second, a case that involves a missing blonde will inevitably drive you to drink.
So yeah, it's got the little curtains on the side because this is recorded in 4x3.
Besides, I was between clients at the time, and certain bill collectors were starting to get ugly.
All right.
The papers said she was last seen in Derhatchett Hollow.
Derhatchett Hollow.
Walking her chihuahua through a nearby graveyard. Not much to go on, but I had to start somewhere.
Ed, there's a gentleman out here to see you that looks like he wants money. Do you want me to show him in, or do you want to go out the window again?
So that leads us to our first array of options here. And it's always, do you shout, "I'm not here," "meet the gentleman," or "hide your wallet"? Now, interesting thing is it switches these up every time you play it. And as you notice at the bottom, there was a timer that went down. Basically, all that timer is you get more points the faster you answer. As far as I know, you could just sit here indefinitely and not make a choice. The game does not proceed until you make a choice, which is why I don't think a pause option is really that necessary. It would still be nice to be able to pause in the middle of a cutscene. But again, I don't think this game's going to get updated. This game is put out there. The other thing that was pretty interesting is the fact that if you go and look at the files on the PC, everything's just out there. You could just play the video files. I think they're just in a QuickTime format, and you could just play all the cutscenes. You don't actually have to play the game. But I haven't done that. Also, the code, you could just pull that up in a text editor and see what options actually go where as you're playing the game. But you also collect items too during this game, and depending on the items you have at the times, your options may change. And that leads to situations where sometimes, no matter what option you pick, the same thing happens, or sometimes 2 of the same options will do the same thing while the third one does something different. So somebody showed up to see us. We're in debt, and you shout, "I'm not here," "meet the gentleman," or "hide your wallet." But the correct answer is "meet the gentleman." If you choose the other 2 options, bad stuff happens. So
He wanted money, all right,
you, Mr.
but it was
Spectre.
for a good cause.
All proceeds
that's because
go
the guy
to
who wanted to see you
orphanage
was a priest.
and are, of course, tax deductible. I don't mean to pry, but your secretary mentioned that you might be driving out to Derhatchett Hollow tonight. It's a very evil place. I want you to have this. It may save your life.
And
It's a vial of holy water.
also, that's how you get holy water.
$12. Tax deductible.
All right. So after this, we can go find the missing girl, send the next client, or have another drink. I always choose have another drink because that, I think, just gives you more points. But
I decided to take a few moments to organize my thoughts. So I poured myself another drink and began to read.
Now, again, I don't know if I'm making the correct options or not. I've never made it. Well, technically speaking, you can always make it through the game. The question is, can you defeat the last guy at the end? You're always going to run into him, but will you have the items you need to defeat him? That's the question. And I never
I
had
passed out sometime around midnight.
Okay, so you just pass out. And basically, it's saying that every
As I
time you
slowly
lose
regained
consciousness, it's like
I was
losing a life,
touched
kind
by
of,
my
but
secretary's
without really losing a
concern.
life. Except
Ed,
in this case, it's just
are you
telling
all
you.
right?
Poor kid
because we
was
didn't lose a
crazy
heart.
about me.
And basically, every time you lose consciousness, that actually begins a new chapter. And there's 3 chapters in the game. That's how this works. So, no matter what you choose here, the same thing happens. The game just starts. I don't know why this is an option. Unless there was some other thing.
The Derhatchett Institute was founded by a Nobel Prize-winning scientist
no,
who
I think
disappeared
every
in the late
option
50s,
does the same thing.
leaving the place deserted for nearly 30 years. I walked up the creaking front steps and turned the knob.
Locked. So, in order to get the most points, you got to knock on the door.
I got the answer one might expect from an empty house. Silence.
Now, I found a way to go in around the back of the house and go in the cemetery, but I don't know if there's really a point to that other than getting some points, and it just takes time. And you don't really get anything for that. I thought I'd get something in my inventory unless I tried every option possible. Either get knocked unconscious or you wind up right back here. So again, I might not have gotten the right solution to that, but we're gonna look for a key.
Naturally, there was a key that fit the front door under the mat.
And you could have done this right from the first option too, but again, you get more
stench
points
was awful.
for knocking
it was
on
like
the door
entering
first.
a tomb. There were rotting stairs to my right and a room to my left, and I felt a cold chill on the back of my neck.
So, I think we get the same thing. Well, I'm going to look over my shoulder because I know we could go into the next room, and I'm not going to spoil it. If you want to play it, you play
see
it.
the wind slam the door shut.
If you want to see the other options,
then I
play it
realized
yourself.
I wasn't alone.
So, what we don't want to do is get near her. So, we're going to race up the rotted stairs.
I bid a fond farewell to the fanged femme fatale and ran up the stairs. I paused to see if I was being followed.
I was. So, this is where that holy water comes into use. Give her a bath.
Her skin erupted as the water splashed onto her. The stench was awful.
And this is a game a lot of trial and error in this game.
The second floor
Because
looked dark and
sometimes
uninviting.
options don't do what you would expect them to do. And sometimes the correct response is the one would seem least likely to work. So we're gonna run into the nearest room. Let's see if I can make my way through it. I did it
fear
once before.
faded as I fled. I felt fine till I fell. So I flipped over and
It's
found
actually
I'd
been
been
like a
followed
month
by
since I played
fanged
this.
femme fatale with a fried finger.
Great game. We can't use the vial of holy water. That's a good way because it's already been used. Even if you didn't use it at this point, I think it shatters in your hand if you try to use it at this point. So we're going to kick the door shut.
I hated to be rude, but sometimes you got no choice. As I stood up, a strange mist started to come in from under the door. The only other door led to a closet.
Yes, we're going to go into that closet. We don't want to do anything else.
I hesitated before entering the closet. Was I a man or a mouse? I decided to give it serious consideration from inside the closet.
Remain hidden. Look down. We want to look down. Yeah, I want to look down.
In the darkness, I became aware of something gnawing on my ankle, so I switched on the light. Rats!
So then we want to run from the rodents. We want to run from the rodents, I think. Or do we want to turn the light back on? Let's try running from the rodents. I think.
Unfortunately, my fear of rodents led me straight
Oh,
into
shoot,
the
that's the
Vampiress's
wrong option.
arms.
Okay. Oh, man, I thought for sure. There was a spot I wanted to get to. But, damn. I thought. See, the thing is, there's a secret passageway. So I got knocked
I don't know
unconscious.
how long I was out.
And the first time you get knocked
but
unconscious,
someone or something
this
had
happens.
dragged me to a cellar below Derhatchett Manor. As I struggled to clear my head, I clicked on my flashlight and looked around. Any fool could see that the place had more than its share of dingbats, and I was no exception.
See, that's the thing I'm talking about. When I clicked run from the rats, I thought something else would happen. So we could go looking for trouble, explore the cellar, find the fiend who dragged her. I think the first two options definitely do the same thing. Or not, sorry, the A and C do the same thing. B might do exactly the same thing. So we're going to find the fiend that dragged us here. I think the first option does the same thing.
It was there in the cellar that I discovered the little man with the evil grin.
I've informed the count of your arrival. He insists that you stay for dinner.
This is so awesome, really. All right, so again, two of these options do the same thing. Glance past them and don't turn around. Both of which will get you successfully away, so we'll save that.
He fell for it, so I took the opportunity to bash him in the chops. I never hit a man when he's down, but I knew I should have made an exception when I felt his fingers on my throat.
Don't worry, we're fine. All we have to do is flip over backwards.
I flipped him into his coal bin and ran into the darkness.
Now, these transitions like this was stuff that was added by Galloping Ghosts, Game Refuge, to fix footage, I guess, that didn't exist or was totally ruined. So you can search the cellar. We want to search the cellar. There's something we want to do down here, I think. See, without context, we're gonna run into that guy again.
I wandered into what looked like an ancient Egyptian low-rent housing project.
And again, I think some of that stuff is added in. We want to examine the papyrus.
I could make out curse, ham, honor, I. The curse of Hammon-Ra. When I turned to leave, I saw someone blocking the door. Obviously, the tomb's present resident. Just then, I spotted a prowler at the window.
Now again, I have my whole process for getting through this room. I don't know if it's the best, like if I can get items, if I do something else, but I'm going to hide and watch.
I hid behind a bush and watched him ransack the tomb. Apparently, the basket had a curse on it. The curse of Hammon-Ra.
So, yeah, if you had done that, you would have been knocked unconscious. So, we want to wait for the mummy's next move.
I watched in silence as the basket was filled with jewels by the mummy of Hammon-Ra, who nearly got grilled in the process.
So this is how you find out the mummy's got a fear of fire. As one would expect by somebody who's wrapped in tissues. So, we got to use the candle to escape.
I grabbed a candle and rushed by old Drybones. On the steps above me, a green ghoul gestured gracefully.
Yeah, sometimes the clips kind of play in an order that doesn't make sense, and it would make more sense to see this part first, other than the part where he's just like screaming. And honestly, I think this is the bad choice. Either one, A or C, do the same thing.
I approached the zombie reluctantly and asked him who his tailor was. His response was to push me backwards into a rickety old freight elevator.
What floor, please?
Yeah, he runs the elevator. He doesn't hurt you at all, ever. Honestly, it doesn't matter what you say here, I think. in this point of the game, he's always going to tuck me to the first floor. I've got no option.
We arrived on the first floor and I got off. I could hear faint piano music coming from somewhere.
What do we want to do? I'm just going to go right into the room on the left, keep to the right. I'm going to keep to the right. Yeah, go back up the stairs.
At the top of the stairs, I saw an ugly dwarf.
This is the master's private property. It's my job to
It's the
see
same
it
guy.
remains private.
Private Eye versus Private Igor, eh?
And he doesn't seem to remember that we were in the cellar earlier. So, we got to take evasive action.
When he moved, I jumped over the railing. It was a long way to the first floor, and Laughing Boy was no help at all.
Don't worry, we got this. We will grab his shirt and pull.
I grabbed his shirt and he flipped over the railing. The second floor looked dark and uninviting.
All right, second floor. We are gonna find something to eat.
The room I next entered was obviously a library of some sort.
Obviously, can't you tell?
There was a door to my left, another dead ahead, but most of the action was taking place in the kitchen on my right, where someone was practicing a bizarre form of culinary preparation.
All right, that's where we're going. Head towards the right.
I couldn't put my finger on it, but there was something odd about the woman in the kitchen.
If you're hungry, get it yourself! There ain't no room service in this hotel!
I think maybe it was her 3-day beard.
You could get her mad enough for her to knock you out. So we're going to look in a cupboard.
Inside the cupboard was a rose, a clove of garlic, and a couple of potatoes.
Nice eyes on the potato, right? So we're going to take the garlic. That is potentially one of the items I believe
I reached
that
in
you can
and took the clove
use
of
to
garlic.
beat the game.
Run along now, you're spoiling your appetite!
And basically, if you do anything but leave, you're going to get knocked unconscious. So sneak away quietly.
I tiptoed out of the kitchen and left her to her work. A faint breeze carried a musty odor to my sensitive nostrils.
All right. Let's see. Go over to closed door, follow the breeze. Oh, yeah, we're going to follow the breeze. I think some of these go to the same place, but I think I know where we're going.
This room seemed to be a lavatory. There was something odd about it, and then I realized what it was.
I literally
smelled like wet dog.
This whole section of the game, I had to
Suddenly, I realized that someone was coming up behind me.
Like this whole section of the game coming up here, I literally got every option wrong before I figured out the right one. So we got to jump in the tub. Like
Thinking quickly,
every
I
option
stepped
here
into the
that you have
shower
to
and
choose
pulled the curtain closed.
makes no sense, but it works.
A hairy paw reached in and turned on the water. I peered around the corner and saw a she-wolf busily primping herself for a night on the town.
How great is this game, right? You know? What we got to do is give a wolf whistle. Yeah, that makes sense, but that's what you got to do.
She turned and giggled like a schoolgirl. Then she started towards me.
Okay. Pucker up. Again, it's the option that makes the least amount of sense.
She leaned forward and planted a wet, sloppy kiss on my lips, then stepped aside to let me pass.
So, bad doggy, smile and leave the room.
I stopped for a moment
And
near
that
the
card
doorway
is something you're going to
to
need.
pick up a playing card for good luck. I rounded the corner and very nearly bumped into a female vampire. She was just starting to leave when I gave myself
I don't think I
away.
made it out of this section without losing consciousness. So we're going to hide and squeak.
I hid, made a noise like a rat, and when I re-entered the room, it was empty. There was a closet in the corner
Oh
with
man,
doors on either
I
side
remember
of it.
my options. Oh, I'm gonna get destroyed here, I think. Oh man, what do we want to do? We want to shoot. I don't remember the correct. The double doors. We want to open the double doors.
I opened the double doors and ducked as a broken down bed bounced into the room. She rose from the bed like smoke from the burning book.
So, we want to grab the bed sheet.
I yanked the sheet from under her feet. She cracked her head as she fell off the bed. Eat your heart out, Mother Goose.
All right. Find a secret, move away from her. Hide in the closet. We want to find a secret passage. I think.
I opened the closet door and hurried in. A moment later, I was in another hallway.
Yep. Okay.
I was reaching for the door handle when suddenly...
The one you seek is in that room, but she won't be living with you.
Oh man. Okay.
Why?
What in the world do I need to do here? Shoot, I think we just have to continue right through the door, maybe?
I ignored her and got about 2 feet before she
No,
grabbed
that's the
me.
wrong option. Okay. Okay, we blacked out again. Man. Yeah,
I woke up with the feeling that I
So
was
chapter
at the
3
end of my
always
rope.
starts like this.
When I realized that I was fit to be tied. The situation was bad and my life hung in the balance. But this was no time for reflection.
Ah, Mr. Spectre. Did you have a nice nap? I'm so glad you decided to hang around. Well, the only reason why you're alive is because the master prefers a hot lunch to cold cuts.
So, the 3 options here, I think it doesn't even matter what you choose. The same thing always happens. So I don't know what the point of
I
this
was
option
trying
is.
to think
Maybe
of
if
a
you had a
diversion.
certain item,
When I
something
lost
else, you did a different option, I don't know.
The whole world started to slip away as the rope bit into my neck. When I got up, I saw that the pipe had made quite an impression on Laughing Boy.
Laughing boy. Oh boy. Okay. So, the candle and go. Yeah, we make good use of the rope.
I told Laughing Boy he was bound to be out of circulation for a while, but he didn't appreciate the gag.
You gotta love it. Didn't appreciate the gag. We're gonna explore the nearest room.
The next room contained an old writing desk under the Derhatchett family crest. On the desk were many items of interest.
So, what we got to do is decipher the cryptic runes.
Just
The
as
zombie
I picked up
boogie.
the papers, the candle lit itself, and a funky phantom friar floated into the room.
The Funky Phantom Friar, one of my favorite characters in the game. Even though he's not here for like a whole lot, but we just have to burn the papers.
As the parchment went up in smoke, likewise did the phantom.
Yep. You just gotta love that they put a Funky Phantom Friar in the game. So, Let's see. Look for a way out. Take your coins. Go. I wonder if I'm going to be able to make it to the 3rd floor. Because the 3rd floor, I want to make it to the 3rd floor. If I don't, I guess, well, but that card comes in handy that I picked up on the 3rd floor. We're just going to get in the elevator. Now we'll have an option of at least the 1st and 2nd floor.
What floor, please?
And I hope I guess 3rd floor is an option. Might be, maybe not. Yeah, 3rd floor. That's where we're going. Again, there may be stuff I'm skipping on the 1st and 2nd floor. I don't know. I've never beaten this game.
I stumbled into some kind of witch's coven.
Best not stick around, cutie. Morbia's not playing with a full deck tonight.
There you go. It's pretty obvious what we need the card for. So, we want to play the ace up my sleeve. So I didn't have that card. I wouldn't have that option.
I pulled the card out of my pocket. The witches seemed pleased.
Thanks to you, Morbia is now playing with a full deck. We are in your debt, but do not try our patience.
I will tell of the unbridled wickedness of Count Vladimir Yorchikunski.
If I tell your fortune, the debt will be paid.
So, what do we do? What do we do? We got to ask about him. And this is what we need to do to find out how to beat him, I think.
The Count is the true master of this house. To oppose him is to gamble with your life. Pick a card.
What do we do? What do we do? Grab the last card she touched.
I picked a card. She didn't seem happy.
Luck is on your side, mortal. This much I will tell.
Listen carefully.
The Count has his reasons for hating the seasons. Now go!
Okay, that was my clue, and I'm not sure, based on that, we will say, thank Morbia and leave, I think.
There was some kind of laboratory just ahead.
Interesting. We get to the laboratory.
I had no idea which way to turn.
I've never gotten out of without losing consciousness. So maybe I could figure it out this time. We're going to go into the lab. This may be the last place I visit. Aside from...
I thought I heard someone coming. I tried to hide.
Man, I never ran into the hippie.
To hide, Mr. Spectre. I am Baron Otto Derhatchett, and your name is Mud. We have ways of dealing with trespassers here.
What could I do? He had a gun.
I don't get that. He had a gun, and they kind of drew... they put an image over it. I've been looking for you. Rush for it, grab the gun. Let's talk about this. B is definitely not the right option. Let's talk about this. Now, there's a...
All right, quickly now.
To listen to this.
What is the capital of Minneapolis?
What is
an unusual question?
This is what he's doing to test your intelligence, but the question is never the same. The letter M, the Mall of America, that's a dumb question. Oh, shoot. I don't know what the correct answer to this one is. It's definitely not the Mall of America. The letter M? Oh, yeah. I just got it. The letter M is the capital of Minneapolis.
Very good. I could use a brain like yours in my latest experiments. Have a seat.
If you get the question wrong,
I had little choice.
Makes you unconscious right there. We got to say, thanks, I prefer to stand.
I said, sit down.
The chair looked comfy, so I sat down. The chair strapped me in automatically.
That looked like just a belt.
In just a few minutes, your brain will be occupying that massive body. Does the concept appeal to you?
Was he kidding or what?
Or what, I suppose. Tip the chair over. I believe that's the right thing to do.
I struggled to break free, my feet coming within inches of the Baron. Then the chair flipped over.
Now look what you've done. You've fallen on your head and probably ruined your brain.
Oh, shoot, that was not the right thing to do. Well, man. Okay, well, now we are...
I came to in an
the
attic.
final chapter.
Someone or something was sitting across the attic from me.
At long
Now, like I
last,
said, I've never
the
beat this guy. I
detective
probably
decides
don't
to
have
pay
what
a
I
visit
need.
to his host. Have you enjoyed our hospitality so far?
It was difficult not to listen. His voice had a strong hypnotic effect.
I always think he's going to say, it was difficult not to laugh. I feel like we've met before. We've never been introduced. I don't think it matters what you choose here.
You don't know me.
Unless you had an item, I
But
guess, the
I
option
know
would change.
you. Each time you lapse in consciousness, I get to know you a little better. Come, sit.
So basically, every time you've passed out, he's taking your blood.
Something I picked out close to your heart.
That was my blood he was sucking on.
So, find something of value, offer him a bride, check your pockets.
Quickly, I checked my pockets. My pockets were empty.
I took the liberty of removing everything from your pockets.
See, I don't think that was the right option either.
This was Count Yorchikunski.
I had at least...
I knew I had failed when I looked into his eyes. I was powerless
so it's game
to
over,
resist
pretty
him.
much. Moments later, the Derhatchett Institute is once again silent as a tomb. You now haunt the halls of Derhatchett Institute, and the case remains unsolved. In hindsight, you probably could have made better choices during your investigation. Now, yeah, again, I haven't played this for a while, and I knew that I wasn't going to be making some of the correct choices, but that was intentional for this video because I really want people to be interested in this game enough to want to buy it and play it themselves. And again, this is only on Steam, so you can see my final score here, and it actually keeps track of the places you've accessed. I didn't even get one of my top scores here. I've done way better, but again, I just could not remember the correct answers to some of those things. But yeah, again, it's not the most well-crafted conversion of an arcade game. It's just the bare minimum, aside from the fact you hit spacebar to skip over things. But I still get addicted to this game where I'm like how, okay, what happened? Go try to go through the game again, except pick different options at different points. And that's, I guess, the fun part of the game. I guess when you finally do make it all the way through the game, then you've got an interesting thing to play through, just to relive the story. It's kind of like Dragon's Lair. Once you can make it through the whole thing, is there really a point to playing it again other than just, to see it again, I guess? But yeah, I really, there's another photo with Brian Colin with the arcade machine. But I was really happy to see that I could play this at home and not just at Galloping Ghost Arcade. So, again, it was really just to put this game on people's radars if it wasn't already, if you're into Steam. I don't know. This would be an interesting game for a company like Limited Run Games to try and put onto different platforms. I can see them doing it. They just did Plumbers Don't Wear Ties. So why not this, And sir, I don't really buy physical media for those consoles anymore, but I'd probably buy it. I love this game that much just because of how goofy it is. The other thing I wanted to mention is I don't think this would have made a great arcade game because, and that's how it was intended, because it probably cost a fortune to play up front because you saw how long I played, and I don't know how that would have worked. you really don't want somebody play. If you're an arcade owner, you don't want somebody playing on 1 credit for like half an hour or so if they're really into the game. So again, this would have probably had to cost like $1 or $2 just to play, because you're going to get an extreme amount of gameplay if you've played it a couple times and you kind of know your way around a little, at least a little bit. So I do want to continue this series. Well, I guess it's Crow Plays is back then. I've got a couple other games on Steam. We're almost going to focus on Steam, at least for the time being, because there's a lot of games on Steam I want to make videos for, and this might just be the format to do it. In fact, I'm going to record another one today, maybe even another one after that, and we'll just have a stockpile. That's kind of like what I used to do. So until I see you next time, bye.